Hello again, year 3, and welcome back. Today we are going to study a new lesson. It's a different genre that you've never studied before. We're going to study a very interesting topic, which is the myth. Storytelling is very common to every culture. People used to tell stories in order to entertain, and most people enjoy listening to these stories. Storytellers have catered to the need for a good story since the beginning of civilization. That's why people used to create stories, and we used to call these made-up stories folklore. This folklore has different genres and different types, like the fairy tales, like the folk tales, fables, legends, and myth. And today, we are going to start with the myth. What is the myth? Now, I want you to close your eyes and listen to me. Are you closing your eyes? Great. I want you to imagine a world where rain and wind can get angry. A world where animals can talk. A world where monsters can live everywhere. A world where superheroes can save the world. This is the world of myth. Can you imagine that? Wow, sounds interesting. Now open your eyes and let's study together. What are the myths? Myth is an English word that comes from the Greek word mythos, which means word of mouth. What is the meaning of word of mouth? It means spoken. So myth is an English word that comes from the Greek word mythos that means spoken words. So myth is something spoken. A myth is a very old story told by the people, by the spoken words, even before books were invented, to be retold over generations. But who tell this story? The authors of the myths are typically unknown. They are ancient people. They are very old, and we don't know who are they. They used to make these stories up in order to explain the early history of a group of people, or to explain how our world works. Sometimes they used to design these stories to explain how we should treat each other, or explain a moral lesson. And of course, all of these were introduced in an entertaining way. And by this, we can guess the purpose of a myth. And the main purpose of a myth is to explain. Are there different types of myths? Yes. There are some different types, one of which is to describe how planet Earth was created, and we call it creation myth. There's another type where heroes are having challenges and different quests, and we call this heroes myth. And there is a very interesting topic, which is the Greek myth. And here, this myth describes the actions of gods and goddesses. And this is a really interesting type of stories that you will like, and we call it myth. So, myths are stories. Yes, they are. So, do they have characters, settings, problems, and solutions? Yes. Myths are stories and they have characters, setting, problem, and solution. But these features are different from the ordinary stories. The characters in our stories are totally different from the characters of the myth. The characters of the myth are often non-human, and they are typically gods, goddesses, or supernatural creatures or magical ones. Maybe animals that can talk, maybe gods and goddesses, maybe people who have wings, or animals that can fly. But where does these creatures live? What is the setting of these stories? What is the setting of a myth? The setting is typically ancient, very, very old. Sometimes it is set in a world very similar to our own, in a different world, not in our world, with supernatural monsters and powers. And the problem occurs between gods or superheroes fighting evil, where the good fights the bad. And finally, we meet the solution, where the good wins against the evil, and is very clear for the audience. And magic is often present in myths. So, my features are totally different. I have non-human characters. I have a very old setting. I have a fight between the good and the bad as a problem. And I have a solution where the good wins against evil. And there is magic. These are the features of my myth. Can you imagine a story? Can you guess what is a myth now? I want you to guess until next video, as I'm going to show you a small myth that we are going to study together and find out our features inside the reading text. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.